Okay, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Monday Moments with Marcus. Monday Moments with Marcus. And we had some technical difficulties, but we are back up and running. Just let me know that you can hear the audio now. Let me know that you can hear the audio now. Okay, I'm going to assume that you can hear the audio. Thanks again for joining us, and thank you for sticking with us through our technical difficulties. And we are here with Monday Moments with Marcus. Monday Moments with Marcus. We want you to make sure that you are liking and sharing the Monday Moments with Marcus on YouTube, that you are liking and sharing, and you are subscribing to the Pastor Marcus Beard page on YouTube. We're going to get straight to the show. I am excited to have my guest on tonight, and I want to play this in introduction to my guest. So check it out.
Something like the same way, but I could be repping for Michelle out. You my girl out. I'ma tell the world about this love is presidential. Yo, my first lady, my first lady. Yeah. Baby, you're my number one. I'll put you second to none. Girl, I worship the rain, waters the grass, the grows on the ground, you all gone. Baby, you're my number one. I'll put you second to none. You make me so ashamed of the girls in my past. Why wouldn't I want to tell the world about you? About you, about you. Why wouldn't I want to tell the world about you? About you, about you. Why wouldn't I want to tell the world about what I got at the crib? Holding me down, having my back when no one is around. Baby girl, you my queen. Come get your crown. All I wanna do is tell the world it's my baby. Something like the same way Jay-Z repping for Beyonce. Something like the same way Barack be repping for Michelle out. You my girl out. I'ma tell the world out it's love is president.
All right, welcome everyone. I wanted to welcome into the studio today Keisha Beard, who is my first lady, Keisha Beard. And we are here, and we also have Casey Beard, which is our youngest son of the two. So we are excited to be here today. And Keisha just came along to join, to just talk about what this pandemic life has been. Parents at home, specifically with kindergartner, doing this virtual thing. We've been blessed because our oldest son graduated from high school on last year, Jaden. So he is in his first year of college. So we have little Casey here going through the K through 12 experience, starting the K through 12 experience in kindergarten. So we want you to type in your questions that you may have for Keisha and I, and any of your comments, but anything that you want to say before we get started?
No, thank you for having me. Thank you for the song. That was nice. You being nice today.
I'm nice every day.
I'm excited to be here and to just kind of chat about life.
Hi, hi. What about you? You have something to say, Casey?
No.
You want to say hi?
No.
Say welcome to Monday Moments with Marcus.
I forgot.
I'm telling you, say welcome.
Welcome to Monday Moments with Marcus.
Good job. Good job. That's my little man. So we are excited. We have not, at least I don't think we have. We haven't really been too sad during this pandemic, right? God has been definitely great and gracious towards us. It's been tough at moments, but we've definitely, I think that we've grown as a family, and we're growing as a family. So we are just really making the best of this quarantine life. in California. So we want to open it up first for a few questions for some of you all. Please put your questions in, and we will answer it. Put your questions in, and if it's something that's none of your business, we'll let you know that it's none of your business. But put those questions in. I didn't say this in the intro, but Keisha is the co-executive producer of this show and of all these virtual shows that we do. She is the executive producer, and she is also. We are actually in our bedroom right now, but normally I'm in the garage, and she is at this time getting everything prepared for Casey's for band and things like that. So she is. She's a real housewife, not a Nene Leakes or and definitely not a Giselle Bryant.
But need to be a housewife.
She needs a housewife. We're gonna have to get a bigger house. So I definitely appreciate her. We've been married 15 years. 15 years. And like I said, we have 2 children, and we're able at this time.
I got 3 children because my cousin.
That's not our child. He got a mommy and a daddy. Okay. Yeah. Okay. But yeah. This is what we go through. So this is what this hour is going to be. I don't see any comments in, so I'm assuming you don't have any questions. Oh, here they go. Here we go. First Lady, how do you like being at home doing school with your son?
Which one? So even though Jaden is in college, we spend a lot of time doing, like, helping him with his work, and it's been fun though. It's been fun to kind of be able to watch both of the boys, like, in school. Like, this is an opportunity that we wouldn't normally have, and we'll never get it again, to actually see, like, how they're learning, what they're learning, how they interact. So it is stressful sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm also working. But it's a blessing to be able to see that and to kind of witness them growing, and asking questions, and us having conversations, and to kind of see, particularly with Casey, we're able to see him in class interacting with his teacher and his classmates, and so that's been great. Thank you, Tamika.
Yeah, it's been, and don't make the assumption that First Lady is the only one at home doing school with her son.
That's true, because
we split first.
Well, because Marcus actually, because I'm usually in meetings, so Marcus actually does most of the heavy lifting, particularly with Casey. So he does the homework and he's talking to the teacher. So really, Marcus does do a lot of the heavy lifting with that.
Yeah, it's been a blessing for me, because in logistics and in management, like, I worked all the time, holidays and things like that, and I didn't see all this. So now that I am entering the entrepreneur avenue, I'm able to spend more time at home and be a part of this. And it's definitely been a great journey. And also go to school also myself. So more questions. Thank you, Tamika. You guys are doing an excellent job with Casey. We're trying. We're trying, and I tell you that it works best. For us, it definitely it helps that we're both here.
That's my name.
Having a partnership that is your name, that's your cousin Tamika in Texas. It definitely helps that to be partners, right? So that's definitely helpful during this time, because if it was just a single person trying to do it, it will be rough.
That's true.
1, 2.
So good comments. Anything else? Any more questions? This is your opportunity.
To do what?
Do you have any questions for Mom and I? No. No. You have a comment while we wait? Something you want to talk about? I would say that Casey has a great school that we put him in so far. It's his first year. Are you satisfied?
I am. It's been It's really good. They are really being innovative, particularly in this virtual environment. Based on what we see in the virtual environment, I'm excited to see what happens when he actually is able to go back to class. It's been good.
Lift every voice and sing. Can you do a little bit of that?
Yeah.
No.
You do it.
No. But yeah, I love it, and I love that it's people of color. So here he's seeing people that look like him, and to me that's very important. And then to have that business aspect, and that expectation that they are going to start a business, right? And Casey already has his business, Keb's Lemonade, right? Yes. So it's definitely great. It's not a secret. You can't get no money off of it if it's a secret. You gotta broadcast that. So it's definitely been great. Tamika says, how do you keep him on task throughout the day?
Well, right now he only is on from 8 to 10 a.m. And so.
Well, that changes next week.
But right now, okay. He's only on from 8 to 10. And they do a lot of moving around. Like there's lots of songs and getting up, moving. They go to breakout rooms. And so it's been pretty easy to keep him on task, to be honest, because his teacher has done a good job of making class interactive. We'll see. They're going to extend the day till noon. We're adding an hour every week starting next week. So for 2 more hours. So we'll see what happens then. But so far, so good.
Yeah, so I would say, yeah, it's been good. It's easy because the teacher, like she said, is very interactive. It has a schedule, and the kids seem to like the scholars. I'm sorry, seem to like learning the way that she learned. So that partnership with the school is important. And I guess I would just pause right there to just say, parents, now a lot of you all are saying that the teacher wasn't the problem. A lot of y'all said that Junior is really bad, right? Junior don't listen, and Junior can't read. So you need to subscribe to ABC Mouse or some type of program so Junior can learn how to read, and you need to get a belt. Because really Junior needs discipline. So sometimes that's how you need to keep your kids on task. I'm not talking to anyone particular, but there is that person out there that Junior need a belt. He need a belt. No timeout. He need a belt.
Or sometimes the learning environment is just not conducive to the learning. Like maybe there's something happening with the teacher or the class, and so maybe Junior needs a belt, but maybe you need to have a conversation with the teacher too.
But now I'm saying that they're at home with their kid, so they can't blame the teacher. Like
if the class is not if the kids are not being engaged, they can't blame the teacher.
Well, okay. Okay, partnership with the teachers. So make sure you partner with the teachers. See, she always has to keep me from going cray-cray. So yes, partnership with the teacher is definitely important. Sister Faye, and we got some more questions. You can put them in. Pastor and First Lady, what if you had to keep doing it at home?
Would you keep doing it?
Would you keep doing it at home? I don't think we haven't talked about it, but before COVID, we talked about, homeschooling and Jaden,
for
right?
Middle school.
For middle school, back in middle school. But I think our plan was to have Casey do public early on and then transition to private, or
maybe.
Right. So stop, son. I don't know. I like it. I like it. I think that virtual is going to be a significant part of our education system in the future. I think the technology is something that we all know is just constantly improving and progressing. So our children, I think that traditional learning environment that we want to push them back to might be just as outdated kind of as the church environment that we've been trying to go back to. So I think I like that he's learning how to navigate through computer that he probably wouldn't have had so much contact with if he were live in person in school.
I would maybe do a mix. I think that like there are some benefits to learning, but I think that he's missing out like on the social aspect. He really desires to have friends and to play with his friends, and so for me that's a big loss, and it makes me sad that he hasn't had that opportunity. So maybe, but we would have to figure out some opportunities for socializing with kids.
Yeah, I think also it sucks too because we were just at the point where he was about to turn 5. He was turning 5 this year, and we were looking at putting him into some sports programs and things like that. And then, because that's something that he was passionate about, seeing his brother play sports, and he hasn't been able to do that. So that's also sad as well.
I agree.
I want to play sports.
Any other questions?
But I can play basketball.
You can. You can go in the backyard and play basketball. Those are some excellent questions. So, Keisha, how are you feeling right now? At this moment in history and with the quarantine and all that stuff.
I actually don't really mind being quarantined. I like being at home. So I think the issue is that I have to stay at home and I don't have outlets to do other things, but I like being at home. I like working from home. Like that doesn't bother me. I think I would like it more if my family could go somewhere else sometimes during the day. But
thank you, Jesus. Because I was just sitting here thinking, I'm like, she talking about she like being at home. I like being at home when ain't nobody else here. But okay, so we don't want to court this.
I like being home.
I know you do. So I hear you saying, dear, maybe sometimes during the daytime I need to take the kids out.
Yes.
Okay.
That would be great.
Okay, I heard you. Finish your comment.
Jesus Christ.
So I think the quarantine, I think the time at home with family has been good. Mm-hmm. I think this time in our country has been challenging. I think like we haven't, I think like our children are seeing like a poor representation of leadership. I think raising Black kids right now is hard. Like they don't, like there isn't safety around that. They see images of people looking like them being killed on TV and on social media. And so I think that's hard to watch. Although I'm not a major Biden and Kamala Harris supporter, it is exciting to see a Black woman become vice president. So I think that's good. Like I'm glad that like little Black girls in particular are seeing that at this time. I think that opens up some possibilities for them. And so I guess my general answer to your question is I have lots of feelings about this time. In quarantine, there's a lot going on. And so I have like lots of feelings and thoughts about all of it.
So you know that like in my head there's crazy thoughts. Because over these last few days when we talk about the country, you talk about Kamala Harris and little girls saying that, hey, there's somebody who look like me. Y'all need to stop putting your faces next to Kamala Harris's face, talking about now there's somebody in the White House that look like you. Because some of you, she don't look like, y'all don't look like her and she don't look like you. She's your skin color. She may come from your community. You should have kept that one in your but I'm looking at some of these posts and I'm like, no, she don't look like you.
Oh my God.
And thank God.
Thank God. That one to yourself.
Drastic differences. Drastic differences.
differently.
Come on, have you seen those?
No.
You haven't seen people do that?
No.
Well, they'll be like,
but the point is,
I get the representation, but you don't have to put your face next to hers talking about now there's somebody in the White House that look like because she don't look like
how
you.
are you going to tell people how they should represent how they are feeling in this moment?
But let's do a reality check.
But that's how people feel.
That's like me saying, I don't know who's out right now. Like, who do you think? Like, you like Maxwell. So that's like me putting a picture next to me, next to Maxwell, saying that totally finally somebody who's in R&B that totally look like different.
That was a bad. That was a bad. You should move on. Yeah. You should move on. That was a bad example.
That was a bad example. What's going on, Lori? Our cousin Lori in Atlanta. Any questions for First Lady? So I can stop. And this is really what happens is that you all see like a more conservative type of Pastor Marcus. And you only get that for those few hours or so because she keeps me tame. But she sees the cray in me. But in all seriousness, I actually do like Biden, and I actually do like both of them, and I like that ticket. I think that it opens up the door to a lot of possibility, and I think that for me, I know that it will be extremely hard for me to be working in the environment that I was working in, knowing the people that I worked around during this time. So I think that the pandemic has helped me by not allowing me to be around these folks that, and it's okay to think differently than other people, but don't have like the emotional intelligence or the maturity to be able to respectfully disagree, right? Mm-hmm. So I probably would have been in a situation where I don't know if I would have represented, Christ in the right way on my job had I been there right now during this climate. Because I mean, you hear a lot of just ignorant stuff, and in managers, and leaders, and and sometimes you got to sit through that stuff. And I'm just at a point where I just don't have the tolerance, right, for a lot of foolishness.
13, 12, 13.
Why are you laughing? I just got to that point. Any other questions for us? You have any questions for me, dear?
So I realized you shared a Facebook memory today that on this day, what was that?
Yes, 7 years ago.
We did our first like League of Extraordinary Marriages.
Yes.
So what did you like about doing that? Do you want to share what it is?
Yeah, so League of Extraordinary Marriages is something that God gave my wife and I when we first came to Revelation and really strengthening marriages. Because I mean, it's just marriage work is just something that we do, right? And we've seen the benefits of it, but we've also seen the benefits of married couples coming together and being able to have real conversations, but then I'll be able to have like a really good time, have fun and things like that. So it was good. To answer your question, what I liked about it is that I think I made the joke. I think the other day I made the joke about you being Serena Jakes or something like that. My God, TD is my soul. Anyway, but I think what I appreciate about you, and this is even when we first hooked up, and you knew that I was in ministry, and then going into pastorship, we talked about it a lot about you, like you being the first lady. You're like, I want to be the first lady, and I guess for me, what I liked about that is it was an opportunity because I don't know if I would want a wife like some of these pastors have their like co-pastors and things like that. Cause like when I'm in ministry, like I'm in my zone, mm-hmm. Right? and a lot of times I like need to be left alone. I don't know if you were that type of woman running around, sprinkling oil slapping me in the spirit all the time, if that's really would be an asset to my ministry. So the League of Extraordinary Marriages was an opportunity and is an opportunity kind of for us to, work together. And I think that our marriage and our relationship grows and was growing as we were helping, other couples. And that's actually been like in my heart lately. Like we need to, in all of this stuff that we're doing, that I'm doing with ministry, like that's something that we probably need to do, because it's not just beneficial for the kingdom, but it's also beneficial for us. So did I answer your question? I would slap you with the I know you will, Lori.
I'm staying here.
So and I can tell you, like I mean, some people have that. But I look at some people that I know in ministry, and I'm just like, dang, I couldn't have that type of like relationship. And it works for some people that co-pastor and stuff like that. If that's what God called. What I do hate it to see is when women are married to men in ministry, and they feel because the church kind of pushes them to a position that they're not really comfortable with, right? If your wife can't get along with women, don't put her over the women's department. Like you know what I mean? She don't like kids, they work her nerves, and then you go tell her to do Sunday school, right? So like to understand and that every first lady, so to speak, is not going to be the same. So to answer your question, that was just an opportunity, I think, for us to work in ministry together, and it was good.
And I appreciate what you just said about like the first ladies. I remember when we first went to Revelation. Like there was a lot of pressure, like sit on the first row, you need a hat, like you need a this. And I'm like, that's not who I am. And so I appreciate that you are not that kind of pastor either, where you're like, no, you need to sit right here. Is Mama Dottie young? Because I'll never forget. She told me I needed to sit in the front row so that Marcus could see me and know that I was supporting him. And I'm like, well, I could not be at church and he knows that I support him.
And we just took an hour and a half drive together.
Right.
On the freeway.
So initially, like that was really a challenge for me.
So for some of you all don't know, is that we pastor a church, or I pastor a church, Revelation Baptist Church. It had one pastor before me, and very traditional Baptist church. So it did help, though. I think it did help the situation that the former first lady, she was still there, so she had her second row seat, right? So you knew that wasn't nobody gonna try to put you on the second row.
That's true.
That's funny. I look at so we've been married 15 years, right? And I have some people that I know in ministry, and they have shows and things like that. And they do a lot of shows now about like dating. And then I have a pastor associate who's single. So they talk about dating, and I'm like, I don't think I will be able to survive in this dating world now. Like it's so complicated. Let me tell you, when I met Keisha, and I'm not telling you women like you need to lower your standards, but I was a freshman in college. I didn't have a car, right? You drove me around. We were friends then,
but we weren't dating.
But we hung out. So now that we married 15 years later, in retrospect, that was a date. That was a date. That was a prophetic date.
It was not a date.
That was prophetic date.
I remember I used to go around telling people, she gonna be my wife.
I did. She gonna be my wife. And she was like, what?
Right. Absolutely not.
So anyway, we would hang out, on these prophetic dates, right? She didn't know what was going on in the spirit, but it was going on. God was setting it up. So we would go on a date, and I didn't have a car. You had a Nissan, right? So we would hang out, and then I got, did I get my mama's car? Was it a bucket that I was driving before then? Because the first car that I purchased myself, it was I a freshman that year? Did I buy freshman, sophomore year? It was a Hyundai Elantra, right? Casey, you said you wanted to be on the show?
Yeah.
Okay, you doing everything else.
I'm
You, okay, you want to say something to the people?
No.
They looking at you. Say hi.
I am scared.
But anyway, we I forgot what I was saying.
Your car.
Oh, I didn't have a car or anything, and like we just talked and hung out, and I think that that's what has connected us over the years, right? Is that we were friends, right? We were friends, and even when we split apart or whatever, I think that we still maintain being friends. Let me tell you, some of the if you want to see a bitter black man, Keisha had me bitter. She had me bitter. I was living on the. Was I living on the West Coast? I'm on the East Coast. Then was I doing that? I was miles and miles away from each other, working in Pennsylvania, and I was just bitter. And then I was working at Cal Poly, and I would go to the poetry readings, and I would sit there, and that's where Zion B was birthed. She had me so bitter. She had me so bitter.
I had you.
You had me bitter, like Michelle and Demiacello. You remember that song? I think she had a song called "Bitter." Bitter. I was a bitter black man, and that was my poetry. I should have pulled out some of that poetry, so y'all can hear, the state that she had me in. Because let me tell you something. When I'll let you know what happened. When I was in high school, dark-skinned brothers, we were out of style, out of season. Didn't nobody give us no attention. So here I am, a freshman, and then I get a friend, and then I'm attracted to this friend now, and then this friend kind of likes me, and then this friend just ghosts me. I'm bitter now.
Is that what happened?
That's how I remember it. That's how I remember it.
I don't think that's what happened, but okay.
I was out of my mind. So the facts could be incorrect, but I was bitter.
So it's funny that you always talk about like being emotional.
Yes.
And having control of your emotions because
I wasn't always.
I know.
I wasn't always. And that's why, and I think you ran out my emotions. I think you ran out my emotions. Because now I'm like not emotional, like in that aspect, right? I think that we were in reverse because the way that I am now emotionally, you were. I would come up to you and be like, "Oh, you gonna be my wife?" And you'd be like, "Why? Where'd you know that from? Who told you that? Where'd that come from?" Right?
I was not like that.
Yes, you were. And then you ghost me.
You have made up a whole story. That is inaccurate.
Remember we used to tell people we met.
Don't share that. Don't do it.
You were married.
Wow. So 15 years of marriage, but we were friends for what? 5 or 6 years before. So like really meeting you when I was 18, 19, I I guess I can say now that I kind of grew up with you. A little bit, right? Because I didn't really grow up until I was in my 30s. Would you agree? I think I had a certain amount of maturity, but I think I really grew up like in my 30s.
I agree. I think life, made you grow up, like different stuff happening, like family, marriage stuff, family stuff. I agree. I would agree.
Yeah, and that's something that like people don't see. And I even look at myself. I don't get in people's business, so I don't know what the other brother is going through. But I just know me as a pastor, what I have experienced in my life, and for me, what I've experienced in my life, what she has experienced, right, because of me, and some of that is is for ministry type purposes, I guess. But it can definitely complicate things. Uh, and I think that that's why things like the League of Extraordinary Marriages are important, because the reality is that sometimes when you and your spouse are going through some things, you need to, like, the woman needs to be able to talk to another married woman, right? And the man needs to be able to talk to another married man.
And I think that like women are good at checking in and touching base with women and like pouring into them, but men are not good at that. And so I think like sometimes you have like even now I think like you need like some male friends.
I do.
And I think that's important. And
I got Zion B.
And I think it's important that men have like married men as their friends that will hold them accountable, who will that they could confide in, that they can share things with. And I think that women just do that better.
Yeah.
But I think that a lot of marriages would be helped if men did that for other men, for other married men.
Yeah, and I think what helped too that was that you, like, a lot of my friends now, like when I think of James Troop, Kenneth Hayes, or I even think of Will Pratt in Atlanta, that like they're married, they understand, but you also didn't like interfere with like you didn't feel the need to be intertwined in the relationship that I had with them, just like I don't feel the need to be intertwined with the relationships that you have with the wife. So I can hang out with them, and you weren't tripping or mad or anything like that. And there were times when you even said, "Hey, you need to call them and you need to go hang out," right? Definitely, I think that is important. I think sometimes in marriages, you think, and some people they're like, "Oh, we just hang around each other and be around each other all day, and we don't go outside and do nothing else." I can tell you, we're not that deep. And what's interesting is that I'm more of a homebody, but since the quarantine, like I've been out. I go to the store a couple times a day. I go to the park. I go and get my mind right and get away from craziness, right? So now I got the feedback from my wife that I need to stop being so selfish with my alone time and take my kids out so then she can get some alone time. I heard that tonight, and I'm going to start making some changes. Amen.
I appreciate that.
Amen. I'll follow up next time you're on the show. This is our cousin in Atlanta. I love seeing family like you guys together, and you guys are happy. What a breath of fresh air. If Lori stopped throwing oil on you, you can breathe fresh. Tell her to let you breathe. Stop throwing the oil. I'm joking.
Thank you for that, because I think like we have to work at happiness. Like marriage is hard, and so I appreciate like you acknowledging that, because that hasn't always been the case.
No, it has not always been the case. I wrote something because I was reminiscing. I was going to share it tonight, but then I was like, no, I'm not going to share it. But I'll share a piece of it, of something that I wrote. A line of it said that what was it? We fail and failed, right? And really, we both have, right? Mm-hmm. And in relationships, we all, fail and fail and fall. But it's really just having your spouse's back. And what I appreciate about Keisha and I is that even when Keisha and I were at odds, like she still stayed connected with my family, right? She still stayed connected with my family. And there was a time, I think it was probably around the time when Chris died, probably around that time where I was just totally like isolated or whatever. And I think that you probably communicated and spent more time with like my family than I did at that point, because I was just totally checked out. And that's what it's about, right? What I like about our family is that our families, we get along. My parents get along with her parents. My mom and her grandmother have a good relationship, right? Her uncle, and it's just like we're able to get along at family events. Sometimes we'll go to her family's house, sometimes we'll go to her family's, girlfriend's house or whatever, um, and then we'll all just post up there and have a good time. And I appreciate that uh, about her and about the family connection that we have, because for me, family is important. I don't talk a lot, and I am a little distant these days or whatever, but family is important to me. And I love my family. I love my extended family. There are people that are even your extended family members that I'm connected to that I count as like family. So I see the connection that God has made with bringing us together. But like she said, these 15 years have not been easy. And Alfonso, it has definitely been work, as that it's been work, a lot of prayer. And we don't take it for granted. We constantly work on it, right? One of the things that we wanted to share was something that we do, was the love and respect experience. I didn't bring it out. A book, and maybe we can do something with the League of Extraordinary. Maybe we can do something virtually with that. But it really teaches and shows us how really when it comes to marriage, the woman wants love. She wants to feel love, and then ultimately the man wants to be respected. And oftentimes, if the woman isn't feeling the love, then she stops giving the respect. And if the man stops getting the respect, he stops showing the love. So then the marriage goes into the crazy cycle, right? And once you get into that crazy cycle, we've been there, right? It just keeps getting crazier and crazier. And then when you married to somebody as crazy as me, that just enhances the crazy situation, the crazy cycle. So marriage is work, relationships are work, and if something isn't right in your relationship, doesn't mean that anyone's wrong. It just means that you just need to do the work, right? And there are things that we're working on, and there's some more things that we're going to need to work on in the future, right? Because ultimately what we want to do is just really show a good representation of family to our children, because we want our children to know what family really is, right? And then that will go into our community, and then the community can get a representation of what a good kingdom family looks like. Not a perfect one, right? But people who are really striving to please God. Anything else you want to say about the book?
No, I think you summed it up.
I like this book. Keisha picked it out years and years ago. And let me tell you something too, women. It is, thank you, Eartha. Thank you, Eartha. Hi, it's really good to see you. Thank you for checking us out. We love you. We miss you. And we can't wait to see you in person again. And definitely tell Pastor Moore Williams that we said hi and we send our love. But what I was saying is that a lot of, and I think Keisha had to learn with trial and error, because there were a lot of times when I wasn't ready to put in the work. I didn't want to read a book about, marriage. I didn't want to read a book about nothing, right? Give me Psalms, Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. That's what I want to read. But she would give me these books or whatever, and we would work on them. And this book was just different. It was a different marriage book, because it was really, the author was a man, right? He was him and his wife, but he was like the primary author. The book had this leather type binding, and the chapters were short, and all of these things that appeal to man, right? Because as a man, especially if you're trying to improve in your marriage, you don't want to have to read 20 pages a day and then have to sit and talk to your wife about those 20 pages. Like that's just a lot. Women, you all can do that, right? Some of y'all may want to do that, but most of us don't want to do that. So this devotional was great because it was short. It was realistic to do it. It's almost embarrassing, and I should be embarrassed because there are times where I just didn't do it. We failed to do it, but it should be embarrassing because it's so simple to read, right? Even if you want to do it by midnight, you can open it up at 11:55, and you can get it read, right? You can at least get it read. You may not be able to do all do the activity and stuff, but you can get it read. So it was very, very good. So women, if you are looking for something for your husbands, something to really, really connect you all, I really, really do recommend this book.
I agree.
And when we ever do it, I hope that you would, go through it with us. But just be cautious of that, where your spouse is, I guess I would say, in their openness to work on the relationship. There was, women, even with counseling and things like that, like we were both open to therapy, right, and counseling. But we've seen different types of counselors, right? We see some that you like that I didn't like, some that I like that you didn't like, and then we see some that we both would like. But again, like, bring him into that conversation. So say, hey, why don't you look up something? Why don't you find someone? For some relationships, you may need a male therapist. That just may be the better environment for your husband, right? So just understand that when you're looking for help and looking for things to do, that you both are looking for the same things, right? And you don't put an expectation for someone that may be too much for them at that time.
And I think be open to therapy. I think sometimes, particularly in the Black community and in the Black church, like we shun therapy and we shy away from it. But there are some things that you and your spouse are not going to be able to work out on your own. Like, you are going to have to get help. And there are Christian therapists. So find someone that you both are comfortable with, like Marcus is saying, but seek therapy. Don't just try to read your Bible through it, or some of that's not gonna work. Like, God created these people, he's already given them skills to be therapists and to help. And so utilize the tool.
And don't expect your pastor to be a therapist.
Right.
Amen. He already done messed up 4 relationships. The wife he with was on the usher board when other first lady was there too, and then you and your husband go and ask for some Christian therapist counseling. No, God has some people that are trained, and there are some things that are outside of the Bible, some tools that can help your marriage.
Right. And I agree. Like, your pastor is good for some things, but sometimes you need therapy. And your pastor is probably not a licensed therapist.
Yes. Right.
And even if they are, because of your relationship with the church, that's probably a conflict for them to provide therapy for you.
Yep. So, Lori and Alfonso are up in Atlanta right now. Thank you for this. The world needs to see more examples of godly marriages like you guys that are in ways flawed yet perfect. Yep. Definitely flawed, but I think perfectly put together in Christ. You're wrong for that. So yeah, therapy is good. Therapy. And I would say it's funny because I think that we had, I was thinking about all this stuff today. Remember we went to marriage counseling?
Yeah, went to marriage.
Not marriage, pre-marriage counseling.
Mm-hmm.
We went to pre-marriage counseling. It was good, right? I made that German chocolate cake. Remember
No.
You don't.
You trying to plug your cake?
I do. I'm plugging my German chocolate cakes because 15 years ago I was making German chocolate cakes, and I'm making them now, so you know they the bub. So anyway, I made the German chocolate cake for the potluck. Anyway, because remember at the event, this is what I'm getting to. At the event, at the potluck, we had that game where the couples play games and they had to answer questions about their spouse,
Mm-hmm.
and then we won that. Remember, we won that, and that was like a good ego boost for us, for me especially, for like going into this premarital course or whatever. And I'm like, dang, I know her. I'm going ace this marriage thing, right? And then life happens, right? And let me tell you something. When you get married and you don't shack up, like the first thing that is unexpected is that living together, right? Some of you all overcome that because you shack up. So you already know, that your spouse, don't flush the toilet, or you already know these things, but you kind of learn those things, and some of those things can be shell shockers, right? One of the things for me is that I used to sleep with the TV off, right? And from day one, Keisha was sleeping with the TV on, right? So then at first I used to get up and go, when she go to sleep, get up and go and turn off the TV. And oftentimes you got to walk because she got the remote hidden under her. So you don't want to wake her up. So you got to get up out the bed and go turn off the TV so you go to sleep. But then after years, you just learn how to deal with it, right? So the TV could be on and I fall asleep before her, right? So you just learn these things. And for some people, like, it's just too much for them, right? So we went into this premarital thing, and I thought that we were doing good or whatever, and then life hit us, and then we had our issues, right? Right?
Yeah.
So we had our issues, but I think that the saving grace was, definitely God being the center.
Close the door.
Close the door, please, son.
I know.
So why aren't you doing it? But also the friendship that we had. And see, there's a lot that goes on in our house. I forgot what I was saying. But anyway, life happens. We knew each other. We were friends, and we still had our issues. But I think that friendship still is what always brought us back, right? And 15 years now, here we are, right? And I am glad to have you as my life partner, my wife, my my first lady. What do you have to say about me? You're supposed to say. Thank you for being. Thank you, sir.
Go ahead. What am I supposed to say
You're
about
supposed to say, I thank you for being my chocolate honey drop, my whatever, my tall. I don't know. What you gonna say? What you gonna say about it?
Thank you, dear. I appreciate you too.
Thank you. We want to open it up. Do we have any more questions before we end the night? I hope something was said that would help somebody in their relationship. I would just say this: this COVID-19 stuff is going. It is getting worse all over the country. So you all better wear your mask and social distance. Stop having these foolish parties that's going to get people sick, right? You don't have to celebrate everything that you celebrated this time last year. It's okay to settle it down and do something virtual because if you're not at that place, California, our governor has had us locked down, quarantined, and some of the states, you all don't have that. But understand that if it gets worse, we all are going to be shut down. You talking about a shut-in service. We all going to be having shut-in services. So make sure that you stay safe out there and make sure that you are still washing your hands, staying clean, wearing masks, and make sure that you are social distancing.
Yes, all that. And I would say if you are married, if you have kids, take advantage of this quarantine time. I think like some people are like really upset about it, like they want to be out, but I think you have to change your perspective about it. We'll never ever have this kind of time back again. So the time, like even if you have to go to work, the fact that you have to be in, like you can't do all your extra social things, like really take advantage of that time with your partner, with your family, with your children. Even if you have to do it virtually, just really like dial it up and spend some time, call people, get on Zoom with family. Because as soon as there's a vaccine and we open back up, we will have forgotten about all this, and we'll be back to the hustle and bustle of life.
Find your value now. Start a business so then you don't have to go back to working for somebody else. Because you never know if that person supports what you support. So make sure that you go out and you take this time to learn a new skill, or enhance the skill that you already know. Take a leap of faith and step out and start a business and do something. There's a lot of businesses that you can do, that you can be an entrepreneur and make great income and be able to spend time with your family. So look for those opportunities. If you need some of those, then hit me up, because I can share some of those with you. All right. Well, we want to thank you all for joining us on tonight for, say, Monday Moments with Marcus.
Monday Moments with Marcus.
All right. This is Marcus, Lakeisha, and
Casey.
We thank you all for joining us tonight. We love you. God bless you. And you all have a great night.
Bye-bye. Dab out.